Hello to all astrology lovers. In this video, we discuss today's lunar eclipse, which took place for us on September 17th to 18 at 5:34 a.m. On September 18th in the morning at 5:34. At 5:34, according to our time, and certainly indeed we will discuss the features of this lunar eclipse. Also, the corridor of eclipses, the autumn corridor, can now be considered open starting today. In addition, we will talk about the symbolism of the zodiac sign in which the lunar eclipse occurs and how it will influence each zodiac sign in your life. Before we discuss this astrological event and this very intense emotional period, I want to note that today I have a shoot at a new location. This well-known establishment is located in the south region of Moldova, in the city of Cahul, and this is the sashimi restaurant, a sushi bar, and here. Besides sushi and rolls, you can also enjoy a very good tasty latte in the morning, just like I do. And it is truly very nice to enjoy the beautiful great view of the city center from the stained glass windows. So the lunar eclipse in Pisces opens up for us a very intense energetic period, a very emotional period. And before we discuss the specifics of this acute event, let's recall in general what a lunar eclipse is. It is important to understand that this is a traditional full moon, but many times more powerful in energies. And this lunar eclipse not only concludes a 6-month program, a period of events, but also an entire life cycle that has lasted for either 2 years, 9 years, or 18 years, or even 18 years. A lunar eclipse is an event that occurs when the Earth is positioned between the Moon and the Sun, and its shadow completely or partially covers the Moon. Accordingly, the lunar eclipse is a time when we experience very strong inner changes. We realize that we need something to change in our lives, and we are preparing for a new stage. And naturally, all of this is accompanied by strong emotions, as this lunar eclipse involves the moon, which represents our subconscious, our feelings, mood, and emotions. And naturally, going through transformations during the lunar eclipse, we come to realize that it is time to let go of many things, to reset and renew everything that no longer serves us in life and does not contribute to our well-being. These can be both material things and emotional attachments. Naturally, it is important to consider the zodiac sign of this astrological event, as the zodiac sign imposes its filters and qualities on the energies of the eclipse. It is also essential to take into account the house of the horoscope in your natal chart, which demonstrates the area of life where we experience the completion of cycles, the completion of programs, relationships, interactions, and overall changes. Furthermore, this lunar eclipse is in Pisces, and it is the first eclipse on the new axis of karmic nodes. We will have a shift in the axis in January 2025. This means we need to understand that changes are already here. We have entered a preparatory period. The full moon closes our time on March 10th, 2024. Here, one can summarize and reap the fruits of their efforts, as well as prepare for new development programs that will unfold in the spring of 2025. And we take into account that this lunar eclipse is related to the 118th Saros. A Saros is a series of eclipses, and traditionally one Saros includes about 70 eclipses, give or take, specifically regarding the 118th Saros. It began in May 1803 and will conclude on July 15, 2083. It is indeed a very long, extended period. Of course, it has its own tasks, and this cycle includes both partial and total lunar eclipses. Within this Saros, the eclipse is characterized by emotional changes, transformations, and deep internal processes that are connected to the subconscious and the collective consciousness. That is, these are events that affect entire generations. It should be noted that the Saros repeats every 18 years. That is, as I mentioned, we are now closing the program from 2006
in the year 2000, which means that certain themes and events that were activated back then will be activated now. They can return, creating such cyclical patterns in our lives and in world events. Therefore, track the scenarios in specific areas of life that repeat, and this way you will be able to see what you need to work on. In other words, remembering will highlight these themes.
What is important to pay attention to? Today's lunar eclipse is occurring in the 118th Masaros, and in September in the year 2006 there was a similar eclipse that occurred at Pach 16 degrees. Today's eclipse occurred at 26 degrees of Pisces. It is important to pay attention to the planets and the cusps of your houses on the natal chart that are located specifically at 25-26 degrees and in which houses of the horoscope. This aspect must be taken into account. There are planetary transits that are also at such degrees. That is, there will now be an activation of these planets and these houses of the horoscope specifically at these degrees. If we talk about the symbolism of the degrees of Pisces and trace how this symbolism has developed over the past 18 years, we can identify a whole journey. The 16th degree of Pisces, according to the Sabian symbols, is depicted as a situation where, in a huge crowd of listeners, a boy who is among this crowd receives guidance from a motivated, inspired speaker. This symbol of the 16th degree shows us the theme of learning, the theme of inspiration, and the theme of group dynamics. And naturally, we are talking here about learning, about mentorship, about the ability to influence others through words, about the manifestation of individuality within a group. The boy in this symbol represents openness to new knowledge and shows us a willingness to learn and absorb wisdom from more experienced individuals. He also adopts a way to inspire the pillar, emphasizing the power of words and ideas in a unique way. And here too, indeed, in this symbol, we see the manifestation of leadership. Furthermore, the boy among the crowd may symbolize personal development against the backdrop of collective movements or ideas. And of course, what is most important that we capture here is the undoubtedly significant and truly incredible significance of finding one's path, such an individual response indeed among group values or some common goals. Now let us turn to the symbolism of the 26th degree of Pisces. According to the Sabian symbols, there is already a completely new picture here, and it is a symbol that looks like the new moon illuminating the sacred tree. This symbol carries deeper meanings that are connected to our renewal and our spiritual transformation. Here, rebirth occurs. Here, renewal takes place. Here, the preservation of nature emerges. And here, inner awakening happens. In other words, the new moon represents a completely new cycle, and this symbol points to moments of beginning something new, a transition to a higher spiritual level, naturally. The sacred tree symbolizes our connection to nature, to the wisdom embedded in the very idea of the world, and to the cycles of life. Naturally, we can conclude here that the degree, the 20th degree, emphasizes the importance of self-discovery, gaining clarity and wisdom through a very deep connection with one's own spiritual nature. Thus, the 26th degree of Pisces may indicate moments when we discover entirely new strengths for our spiritual growth, and a period of such mystical and intuitive insights opens up for each of us. And here the focus on the personal and spiritual path of renewal is very important. That is, it is important to hear the response of your soul right now. A completely new program of development is opening up for us, specifically in the spiritual realm, at a much higher level after 18 years, with a new level of wisdom, understanding, perception, and awareness. And each of us will now have 2 weeks to complete absolutely everything that is necessary. Considering that this is a full moon, it will illuminate what exactly needs to be worked on. It is also important to remember that before October 2nd, this is not only the waning moon, but also a period when we solidify our results and our decisions, so to speak, with a seal in space,
This is something that will never change again and something we will no longer return to. That is, it is very important to take this into account during the autumn eclipse corridor. Now let's pay attention to how the zodiac sign works for this lunar eclipse, and that is Pisces. Pisces brings a very powerful wave of intuitive, emotional, and spiritual energies, as this sign is associated with deep emotions, mysticism, and our subconscious. Eclipses are always key points, and these points emphasize very important moments of change, completion, and culmination. Now let me remind you that Pisces is the symbolic 12th house in astrology. Of course, this adds extra meaning to the lunar eclipse. That is, Pisces as a symbol of the 12th house of the horoscope. Pisces as a symbol of the 12th house of the horoscope is associated with the idea that the airplane, hidden from the outside world, with the depths of our soul, with the subconscious, and those spheres of life that go beyond our personal ego. This is the house of completion, the 12th house, the house of letting go, karma, spiritual quests, the house of solitude and the collective unconscious. Themes related to the secret and hidden aspects of our lives will be activated here, including themes of isolation and solitude, spirituality, mysticism, and past karma. And some sacrifices after all. This is the 12th house of the horoscope. It is often associated with the secret and hidden aspects of our lives that remain in the background, both in personal life and in society, manifesting as internal fears, psychological blocks, hidden symbols, concealed motives, and mysteries. The theme of self-deception may also be present here. Moreover, the 12th house, by the way, governs places of solitude. That is, these are closed institutions. They can be monasteries, prisons, hospitals, where a person is left alone with themselves. Moreover, the 12th house emphasizes the importance of inner work through solitude and meditation, such as meditation. Pisces is closely associated with spirituality and shame for us. Here, a person essentially confronts questions about the meaning of life and interacts with higher powers. Intuitive insights occur here. It is very important during this period to pay attention to dreams and everything that is related to karma, to debts, to the completion of life cycles, to the conclusion of the past, some recurring patterns that come from past lives or family traditions. This all relates to the 12th house of the horoscope. Working with the energy of this eclipse can be facilitated by various spiritual practices and creativity, any form of creativity that allows us to bring our emotions to the surface. These can be various forms of art, music, and visual imagery, and it is a very good time to generally unlock your creative potential, find inspiration, and express your feelings through various forms of creativity. It is also important to consider that the ruler of this eclipse is primarily Neptune and Jupiter. That is indeed one higher planet and one social planet. Speaking of Neptune, it is currently in retrograde, but since it will also be in conjunction with the moon during the eclipse, it is currently expected to have a significant impact. Naturally, Neptune will enhance the symbolism of this eclipse and bring additional deeper energies. The energies of Neptune can manifest both positively and negatively, depending on how we interact with these energies and how consciously we approach their influence. The positive energy of Neptune indeed manifests as intuition, and here it is easier for us to connect to the subconscious levels of our consciousness. Neptune will open the doors to our inner insights and more. It gives us very subtle sensations. Indeed, it helps us feel events on a higher level, helps to make wise decisions based specifically on intuition. Additionally, Neptune in the positive provides a very strong creative inspiration, activates the theme of unconditional love, the theme of compassion, and the theme of spiritual understanding of the meaning of life. When talking about Neptune in the negative, illusions and self-deception may manifest. Here, various dependencies and escapism from reality may manifest. Moreover, These dependencies can also arise through various substances that alter consciousness. Additionally, themes of sacrifice, confusion, and chaos may be activated here. This is all Neptune. In other words, it blurs the boundaries of our reality, hindering us from making clear decisions and choices in our lives. To work through the energy of Neptune, it is important to remain aware, keep a cool head, and use various spiritual practices that calm the mind. Additionally, engaging in creativity is very beneficial. Creativity allows for the release of all excess emotions and helps to become aware of them. I remind you that Neptune is in retrograde motion, which means it intensifies all these states 100-fold. Jupiter is also the ruler of oblivion, and it is the planet of wisdom, the planet of knowledge and spiritual growth. And naturally, Jupiter expands everything. It gives us opportunities, activates themes of learning, themes of inner growth, and themes of expanding our worldview and perspective. That is, Jupiter is always about growth, expansion, development, optimism, and faith. About wisdom and the meaning of life on a very global level in general and overall perspective. In addition, Jupiter gives us generosity and magnanimity, both on a material and emotional level. When talking about Jupiter, in the negative, its energy manifests as excessive optimism, extravagance, pride, a sense of superiority, a delusion of grandeur, some impulsiveness, and can activate avoidance of responsibility. This is how the energies of Jupiter in the negative can manifest. In order to work through these energies and ground them, it is important to set realistic goals in life, to maintain a balance between our generosity and prudence, and to use this period for learning, self-development, and self-discovery. Also, during the lunar eclipse, retrograde Neptune is in opposition to the Sun and in conjunction with the Moon. As I mentioned, Jupiter is in squares with the Sun and the Moon. That is, quite disharmonious aspects, but containing a very powerful charge of energy. All aspects are, let's say, prickly, so it is important to remain as aware as possible. Control your mind through willpower and manage your thinking, tuning into the good and positive in your life. It is very important to consider the aspects that are working in the background during this eclipse. The Sun is currently in trines with Uranus and Pluto, the two higher planets. Both are currently in retrograde motion. Harmonious aspects provide a very powerful and supportive energy for completion and purification. They shine very brightly on what exactly needs to be worked on. Uranus is indeed the planet of renewal, and the planet that shows us the connection with the higher powers. Pluto is the planet of transformation and scale, which gives us the opportunity to be reborn and renewed. And together, the Sun, Uranus, and Pluto will create a large trine in the sky at the moment of the eclipse, which is very favorable. The aspect, a grand trine between retrograde Uranus, retrograde Pluto, and the Sun, creates a powerful dynamic for transformation, liberation, and absolute reset. The aspect that opens the doors to very deep changes in life activates processes of inner transformation and awareness, primarily of one's uniqueness. Retrograde Uranus is generally responsible for unconventional solutions and freedom from any limitations. It brings very unexpected and radical changes to our lives, especially in those areas where we experience strong stagnation. The Sun in trine emphasizes issues of personal identity and the activation of life energy, and offers us the opportunity to reassess our life mission, goals, and ways of self-expression in general. I would like to remind you that the Sun is primarily responsible for our self, our will, and motivation. Retrograde Pluto adds depth and intensity to this. It transforms our suppressed emotions, our shadow sides of the personality, and reveals our potential that has been closed off until now. In other words, it gives us the opportunity to go beyond previous limitations. And considering that 2 out of the 3 planets are retrograde, All of this will happen through a reevaluation of past experiences, through the awareness of some hidden processes in our lives that we have simply not noticed until now, and of course, through the acceptance of radical decisions. I would like to remind you that the most important decisions are better made after the eclipse corridor, as during this period those decisions cannot be undone. It is also important to consider that another aspect will be at work, the biseptile, a harmonious aspect that will arise between these planets and the moon. And what does the biseptile give us? It gives us a very free flow of energy. That is indeed everything that will happen at the moment of the eclipse will transform very quickly. This aspect gives us ease and a natural flow of energy between the involved planets and opens up completely new opportunities for growth and our progress. Despite the certain chaos and confusion, if one is attentive and observant enough, it is possible to notice glimpses of trends for the future development of our lives. And now, let's consider the actions of this moon's conjunction in Pisces for each of the 13 zodiac signs. Leos. The lunar eclipse occurs in your 8th house of the horoscope. And of course, this is the theme of personal transformations. The 8th house resonates with the 12th house. There is also an activation of the theme of shared resources and the use of other people's resources to which you have access. The theme of personal relationships is also activated in the context of the intimate side. The eclipse activates areas related to the finances of others and the theme of sexuality. Here, themes of inheritance may be activated if they are relevant to you. Additionally, the 8th house is responsible for esotericism and hidden, secret knowledge of life. Perhaps, during the previous period you were engaged in studying esoteric knowledge and now you can already draw some conclusions. In general, the 8th house represents transformation and inner changes. The 8th house is considered the house of crises, so any personal changes that occur within us definitely change us profoundly and permanently. In the 8th house, considering that this is an eclipse in Pisces, one can activate the theme of working with the subconscious and some old traumas. Here, the themes of shared resources and finances, as well as financial obligations, will also come to the forefront. These can be money related to banking structures, taxes, benefits, and inheritances. Themes of investments. And considering that we have retrograde planets, there will be a reassessment and reevaluation of financial obligations and financial strategies. Here, it is important to pay attention to the development of the intimate side of your relationships, because the 8th house is precisely responsible for that. And in addition, the theme of power and control is activated here. That is, this can manifest both in professional life and in personal relationships. And in order to work through the energy of this eclipse, pay attention to self-reflection and make sure to engage in financial planning, especially regarding matters related to other people's finances. In addition, it is worth paying attention to the development of personal relationships, specifically in the context of intimacy and sexual needs. And also track your personal transformations. They will definitely happen. The only thing is to be open to these changes, because many higher retrograde planets are involved in these processes, and these states will happen to you regardless. Therefore, it is worth opening up, accepting, and quickly adapting to these changes. I wish you success. Subscribe, like, and share this video. See you.